Do the things that nobody else wants to do. That's always the easiest way to have job security, right? Is like, yo, like, oh, well, like, for instance, in the kitchen, like, who knows how to make gnocchi? If nobody raises their hands, be that person that knows how to make gnocchi. Be that person like, all right, I know how to make fresh pasta. I know how to do this. I know how to do that. Like, be aggressive about it. I literally fell in love with the science and what cooking is. Like, I just fell in love with flavors and fell in love with the techniques and everything. And so, like, for me, I really didn't I didn't watch Bobby Flay on TV and fall in love with it. I fell in love with it just because I really enjoy food. The stories that people talk about how it's greatness, like, just to be compared to that is phenomenal. Like, it's like, oh, like, cool, I love that. Like, you're talking about somebody who's easily top 3 in his craft. Like, so it's like, all right, that's dope. Like, I love that. I'll wear that. I'll wear that badge.
Hey, what up? It's your girl, Tanisha Smith, again with another episode of Too Skilled to Fail, your T. Smith experience, bringing you a new guest today. My guest today is Sterling Buck. He's from Los Angeles, but he is here in Las Vegas. He's been here for about 20 years, 21, how many years?
24.
24 years. I'm new here. I've been here 3 years, but he's been here 24 years, and we're going to be talking to him. We're going to talk to him about his restaurant. We're going to talk to him about his music and background and everything else in between, and go from there. What up, Sterling?
What up, girl? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. How you feeling today?
I'm good. I'm blessed.
I love that, and you didn't even, blessed to be you. Just be you and have the ability to get up every day and do what you can do in your health and things like that as well. I love when people are like, I'm going to put this shift on my family and everyone else, and I'm like, reminding you, like, you too, like, you're a dope.
Yeah.
And this is why I started, when I sat there at the restaurant, I'm listening to you, I'm like, oh my God, he has to be on the show. He has to be on this show. I don't know how to get him. I am starstruck by anyone, right? It doesn't matter if you are, yes, Beyonce, I would be like, oh my gosh. But I get starstruck by people because I listen to what they're doing, and then their passions come out in their voice, and that's what happened at the restaurant. You didn't notice that, but as you were talking to my partner, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to know more about him. I want to know more. And when he was like, she got a podcast, I was like, yes. Wheel him in for me, because I get starstruck. And then I'm like, he's probably not going to want to do my show. I just got this little show going on. And
no, hey, look, at the end of the day, it's all love, and I love doing this type of stuff. It's just fun for me, so I love doing it. So anytime, it's promoting everything and promoting each other, and it's all fun for me. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. There was also in the back of my mind, someone said, I've heard a couple stories about me listening to podcasts and things like that, and people saying, don't be afraid to ask. It doesn't matter who. And I was telling you a story right before this where I reached out to somebody, Mark Summers.
Right.
I was on a show long time ago, many moons ago when I was 12. What would you do? Flash forward, I won't tell the whole story, but flash forward, I ended up reaching out to him to thank him because him hosting made me want to be a host. But I remember I was like, first of all, this is probably not his real Facebook page. This is probably someone else. His picture's there, but it might be someone else. He didn't put much stuff on there. He probably not gonna get back to me. And then I was like, well, what's the worst that can happen? He just doesn't get back to me.
100%. Yeah. I guess that's like how you should always approach things, right? It's like, what's the worst can happen? Because like, it's like, if I always call it the fear of flying, right? Because people they think about something, they're like, oh, I'm too scared to do that. And it's like, well, what's the worst that can happen? Like, you gotta jump at some point in time. You gotta take it, otherwise you might miss out. That was always my biggest fear in life, is like missing out and being like, all right, well, I didn't do this. I didn't go and try to pursue this. I didn't try to take this risk because I was too scared. I might have missed out on something. I might have missed out on a great opportunity. I might have missed out on a new good relationship or whatever. You never know. And so a lot of times I call it the fear of flying. You gotta get out there and you gotta fly. You gotta like let it happen. You gotta get yourself out there, and like people tend to let fear stand in front of them. You gotta let fear push you from behind and help motivate you to do better thhave in life and help you grow.
Let me tell you, that growth through fear. So my biggest fear was skydiving. Why are you talking about flying? That was my biggest fear. So I have a bunch of little fears, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, and just uncertainties. But my biggest fear was skydiving.
Okay.
And I was going through something about a year and a half ago, and I was going through a lot. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to just start conquering my fears, starting with my biggest fear. Jumped myself out the very next day.
Okay.
Without calling anybody, without talking to anybody. I booked it. Then the very next day I skydived. And in the middle of the, floating in the air, I was like, oh my gosh, it if I can do this, I can do all those other little things. And so while I don't expect everyone to conquer their biggest fear first, I felt like with conquering that one first, I can do all types of things.
Right, 100%. But now let me ask you.
Okay.
So after you did your skydiving, right, what did you feel? Like, what was like your... Because I've skydived 3 times.
Oh, gosh,
and
no.
So
I'll
like,
never do it again.
Yeah, you never do it again?
No.
You know, it wasn't exhilarating for you?
No, it was all of that, and that's all I needed.
Oh,
one time was
gosh.
enough. It was so random. And so for me, I didn't do it over like the oceans, over Dubai, and how people see the palm tree in Dubai. I'm like, it's beautiful. I did it here in Las Vegas, and all I saw was freeway. And I was like, what am I doing? Okay, this is cool. I'll never do this again. But it was so awesome. And I did it though. It's one of those things, when we talk about check the boxes for different things, it's one of those things that I checked that box and I was like, I did it. I'm good. I know I can do it. And I didn't need it. I think the coolest part about it was I didn't need anyone to pump me up. I didn't know anyone there. I didn't take any. I did not tell anybody or take anybody with me. So I was there by myself.
That's dope.
That's dope. So no, I won't do it again though. No. We let you have that. I think that was it was definitely a pivotal moment for me because I was going through a lot of different things, but a lot of different things was really a manifestation of me getting up and leaving California where I lived, moving to Las Vegas by myself. None of my kids were here, and I just was sitting in my own like self-pity for a minute, and I was like, no, you gotta get up. You gotta shake it up a little bit. It shook me up, but let me tell you, literally I went home and slept. I had slept fine the night before, but I think my body was so overly stimulated. Yeah. I don't know if you had that feeling, that I went home and I just passed out. And before I knew it was like 7 p.m. Like I did it skydiving at 12. It was 7 p.m. when I woke up. It was only quick. It was right down the street from my house. 7 p.m. when I woke up. I'm like, what the heck happened?
Yo, I'll never forget the first time I skydived.
What was that like?
So it was for my wife's birthday. We surprised her. And we went out Boulder City. We did in Boulder City, and I actually had to go work afterwards. So we're up there. I think we're like there at like 6 a.m. So we skydive and everything. And your boy was I had a adrenaline high. I was so high on adrenaline, I was jittery. And my wife was like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "Yo, this is crazy right now. I'm seeing double."
Right.
Like it's like I was like, and like I guess so. I finally, we took her back to the house or whatever, and then like I went to work, and even at work, I think I was just like on like all right guys, let's go to this, do this. Are you ready? Pick up table 10, 11, 12, 14, 18, 20. Everybody's like, chef is like on. I'm always high energy anyways, but like I was even higher energy, and they're like, yo, what's up with you? I was like, I just came back from skydiving. This is crazy.
Right.
Like I've never, so like for me, and I don't think I came down until I think it was like maybe 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Like I was like so like.
That's what I think. My body
crazy.
Yeah.
So I can see where you could be exhausted from that because it's like
it was so much.
It was
like
you're
so
just
much. Yeah, I felt it. I'm in the car, literally like shaking. Yeah. Like I'm out of the sky. Why am I still shaking? Yeah. I go home. I try to eat, and my stomach was nervous. I had a nervous stomach, and I was like, no, I'm gonna just be, because I was like, I don't know what my body doesn't know what it's going through. Like it needs to like come back down to earth because I feel like it's still floating in the air. Like
100%.
That is so.
Wild.
Well, you already alluded to work, so I want to get into that because that's so important to me, to promote what you're doing. You are a chef. You're not just a chef. You are head chef. You have done your time. You were a sous chef. So let's talk a little bit about that. Let's start with the beginning of how you became Sterling the chef.
So first love was, we talked about a little bit earlier. First love was basketball, but my first like actual like doing a job was music. And I'd always loved to cook. Like when I was younger, my mom and my father, who were both music industry, my mom won a Grammy in the 70s, a group called Taste of Honey. My father was the business side of the industry, with Motown, Capitol, and Stax Records doing A&R. And so like my parents were always really busy doing their stuff. You know, my mom was out of the country entertaining, my father was working. And so like it was me and my brother Steve at home a lot. And so like I got tired of eating like frozen meals every day. And we were like, all right. I remember I saw a ribeye in the refrigerator one time, and I was like, all right, like I kind of saw Dad do this before. Like, let me try this. So I turned like the broiler on underneath the oven and seasoned it, and I put it in there, and it was absolutely terrible. But I fell in love with that kind of like, I guess, the science and like the kind of like the figuring it out of like, all right, cooking. And then like I started playing with food more and more and more. And, you know, as I hit high school and I was still trying to do my music career, I kind of used food to just impress girls. So I get like girls like, I cook. You cook? I can cook, girl. Come on.
We love a good meal.
Let me show you real quick. You know, so like I use it to impress girls, and then like I hit after high school, you know, I had to actually get a real job, and like so like I was gigging and doing stuff, but like I had to get a real job, and I was like, all right, so I landed a restaurant job, and I was like, I love this, and so I had to make a real hard decision. I had to stop the career that I thought I was gonna do, music, and move on to food. I was kind of tired with the music industry and what it was doing and how people, you know, shady things that happen to people. And I was like, I'm gonna get into restaurants. And I went to culinary school and I never turned back. I just literally just worked really hard. I tried to work for all the greatest restaurants that I could. I would literally work for free. I would go places and just like show up with my knives and my apron and say, hey, you know, like I just want to learn. Can I just come and work a couple hours and learn? And no chef is ever going to turn down free work. So I go in there and I just work and just learn and pay attention to what's going on, stand side by side with chef. Look what he's doing. What are you doing over there? What's going on? And so like I just tried to learn as much as possible. And then, you know, like I landed my first sous chef job. I was 23. I was 23 years old, 22, 23, somewhere around there. And I was at the Wynn Hotel. I was sous chef at La Cave, and I worked my ass off. Like the moment I knew that was like my shot, you know, it's like you're drafted into you're in the pros now, and it's like, all right, cool. So I really worked my ass off to make sure that like I did everything. I tried to make my career based on things that nobody else wanted to do. So if you like somebody was like, that's hard, I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna learn how to do it. So I'm better at it than you because it's obviously hard. And so I landed my first executive chef job at 27 years old. At the time I was the youngest executive chef at the Wynn Hotel and one of the first African Americans. It was all based on work ethic, and I loved the grind of the kitchen. And you know, we talked earlier about like my whole Kobe, my whole love with like Kobe Bryant and how hard he worked, and like that's like I really have tried to embody that whole type of thing in myself, and like the Mamba mentality, but it's like in the kitchen. And so like, you know, getting the name Chef Mamba. When I was working for Gordon Ramsay, I was the executive chef at Gordon Ramsay Steak, and like my employees knew that I loved like the whole Kobe thing. And Kobe passed while I was working there, and then like that's when like the name Chef Mamba came with, like, yo, Chef Mamba, Chef Mamba, Chef Mamba. I was like, all right, cool, I like this. Like it, So I started running with it, and you know, it's kind of really became like, for real. I mean, to be compared to somebody so great, like, I mean, you're talking about, I mean, the stories that people talk about, how his greatness, like, just to be compared to that is phenomenal. Like, it's like, oh, like, cool, I love that. Like, you're talking about somebody who's easily top 3 in his craft. Like, so it's like, all right, that's dope. Like, I love that. I'll wear that. I'll wear that badge.
Yeah, definitely. Here we go. You here in chef mode. Today, I would never know. Like, I look at you, I'm like, what does he do? What does he not do? And this is why I asked you earlier. I was like, are you an artist too? Like, are you a creative? Like, I would have said creative. If I just saw you as a chef, I saw you as a chef for a second, but in speaking with you, I'm like, no, this guy is creative. This guy's got some stuff going on. And so your music career, obviously, like you said, your parents were both in the industry. So that was like a natural.
Yeah.
All right. So for us as kids, we probably see our parents doing something. We're like, okay, well, I can do something like that because it's something we've seen.
Right.
Where did you actually see, I mean, other than you cooking in your kitchen, where did you start looking at shows? Were you looking on TV for shows? What were you doing
so
then?
That's the crazy part about it, right? Is like there's a lot of kids, especially when I was in culinary schools, a lot of kids are like, oh, I watch cookie shows. I didn't watch cooking shows. I literally fell in love with the science and what cooking is. Like I just fell in love with flavors and fell in love with the techniques and everything. And so like for me, I really didn't like I didn't watch Bobby Flay on TV and fall in love with it. I fell in love with it just because I really enjoy food. I enjoy food. Like it's there's that movie Chef. My favorite scene of the whole movie is he pulls his son off the truck, right? Because he's about to serve a burnt sandwich. And he's like, do you like this? He's like, yeah. Well, guess what? I love this. Everything in my life that I've done has came from this. Everything great. And that's how I feel. Like, oh, you like this? No, I love this. This is how I spent the last 20-something years of my career is doing this and trying to be better at it and trying to grow from it. I love food. Like, I love everything about it. Like, people bring me, I get produce companies that bring me samples. Literally, somebody just brought me a satsuma, which is like a Japanese, it's like a Japanese tangerine. I'm like sitting there, I'm opening it up, smelling it, tasting it. Like, oh, hey, look, put a little piece of this on the grill real quick and let's put a little salt. Let's taste how it develops. I love the science of food. So, like, for me, that is my art now. is putting together unique flavors that you're not going to get anywhere else. Taking fresh ingredients, using locally grown ingredients, using organic proteins. That's what I love. So it's the science and the creativity from the farmer all the way to me. I enjoy the whole thing, and so that's my art. That's literally what became my art as a chef now. I absolutely love food.
How did you get you were just saying you were sous chef, you were working with Gordon Ramsay.
I was executive chef for Gordon Ramsay.
How did you land that? Like, if someone wanted to get to that level, and there's a lot of people that I'm sure want to get to that level, right? You know, if someone wants to like climb the ladder, that's climbing the ladder. How did you get there?
So, like, honestly, they actually reached out to me for that job. I took a step down to go work for David Chang, because he was like at the time he was like the hottest thing smoking in culinary. So I took an executive sous chef job to go work for David Chang. I took a step down, and Caesars Entertainment reached out to me. They actually came to my restaurant. A couple of the directors came to my restaurant, came to Momofuku to come meet with me, and they asked me to come to Gordon Ramsay's steak. And so that was kind of just by knowing that people knew that I was a hard worker, and they knew that I was a good chef. And so my advice to anybody that wants to get to there is just work really hard. Do the thing, like I said, do the things that nobody else wants to do. That's always the easiest way to have job security, right? Is like, oh, well, like, for instance, in the kitchen, like, who knows how to make gnocchi? If nobody raises their hands, be that person that knows how to make gnocchi. Be that person like, all right, I know how to make fresh pasta. I know how to do this. I know how to do that. Like, be aggressive about it. We were talking about the fear of flying. Don't have the fear of flying. No. Like, get out there and just jump and do it, and show that you're a leader, show that you're aggressive, show that you want to be bigger than everybody else around you, and you'll get there. Like, that goes with everything in life. It's like just jump at it.
You've got to stand out too. I mean, you're in the kitchen, in the background, and there's other chefs. Obviously, there's not, there's sometimes where there's only one, but there's multiple chefs, especially if you're on the strip. There's multiple chefs. You need to stand out. You know, that's 100%. A personality too. That's just like anything else. It's like a standout artist, a standout sports. You know, someone playing sports, right? Football player. You need to stand out. And so your standout, what was that to you? How did you define your standout?
My creativity of food. I think that even makes what Palate is now very unique. It's like the combination of just like different flavors that you're never gonna get anywhere else, and how I use my techniques of food. And I think that people saw how unique it was, and they're like, nobody else is really doing this. And that's kind of what sets me apart from everybody else. But it's just like, I never wanted to be like anybody else. I always wanted to be Sterling Buckley. And so, like, that's exactly what I do in my food, and everything I do is just like, I just be myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And then let it take you from there. I think that's, for me, I'm thinking about it. I've never really wanted to be, like, people say, what did you want to be when you grew up? I never wanted to be just one. For me, I never wanted to be just one thing. I was in pageantry early on, so you kind of that was part of your interview process for them to ask you what you wanted to be. Growing up, I was in team pageants. What did you want to do when you grew up? What did you aspire to be? And so I gave this one blanket answer, and then my heart of hearts, I was like, yeah, but that's not all I want to be. That's not all I want to do, but I don't want to give you too much, because now I'm rambling, and that's what I would be doing. Well, I also want to do this. Well, I've done this, and I want to do that. I'm interested in doing this. And I loved my perspective for my kids is always like, you can be whatever you want to be. You could be multiple things. You don't have to just be one thing. You can do anything you want to do. You can switch it up at any time, and just giving that grace. And I didn't have that grace growing up. A lot of people didn't have that grace or just that knowledge, because we pigeonhole. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Police officer, lawyer, doctor. Like, we can throw all those things out there. And I was like, I don't want to be any of that. But I have a whole list of other things that I'm going to try. And that's okay as well. I mean, you in your kitchen, I don't want to be a chef that just, cooks American food. I want to be a chef that can cook Thai food, African food, Indian 100%. Food. And we can talk about your culture, because you're not just, you are, a brother, but you also have other backgrounds. So let's talk about that as well.
Yeah, so I'm also Irish and Native American, but like, I kind of like what I really got my love for, like, the multicultural cuisines was just kind of like my parents. It comes back to my parents. My mom traveled a lot to Asia, and she would bring us back like little things from Asia, and so like I learned how to use chopsticks at a young age, and like it really made me fall in love with kind of like the Asian culture. And so like originally when I got into food, I really wanted to go strong into Asian cuisine, and so I did. And I did a lot of like fine dining restaurants with Asian backgrounds, and I added that kind of into my into my repertoire as a chef. And then like I started like, all right, well, what about like Italian? So I would learn how to do like making fresh pastas and stuff like that. And so I never really wanted to just be like the chef that just cooked Italian food, or just the chef that just cooks Southern food, or the chef that just does this. I wanted to make sure that I knew how to do everything and I be really good at all of it. And so that really is what comes out at Palate, is that like it's crazy because the name restaurant is Palate, and it really is. It's like a painter's palette. You get like a different flavor, a different color, a different taste of everything in like kind of like our world, right? And we kind of do this crazy thing with it, and we make it art. We make it a unique plate, or we make it a unique cocktail, and we make it like really multicultural and funky, but like it's still not anything you're gonna get anywhere else. And so it's like it's really a reflection of who we are at Palate and what we do, and it's just we're unique, funky people that just don't want to be like everybody else.
That's awesome. And in sitting down trying to create a menu for the restaurant, what was that like? Like, how did you collaborating with somebody, and what was that like? Were you guys having like this cultural journey while you're doing it?
So actually, the food is all me. Like, there's no collaboration really. It's just like, so, and usually, like when you work for like a celebrity chef, like working for Gordon, you have the Gordon classics, right? You come, you see the Wellington, certain restaurants, Gordon restaurants, you have like the fish and chips. You have to do like the Gordon classic sticky toffee pudding, right? So there's like a list. When you work for celebrity chefs, there's a list of things that you have to follow, and then you kind of fill in between with like the things that you could change seasonally. Here is literally, it's all me. And so the cool thing about it is coming up with the menu, pretty much working with the partners, they were just like, yo, just do you. And so I was like, all right, cool. So we sat down, we did everything, we tasted, we would because our kitchen wasn't ready yet. So we would go to a couple like our food purveyors, Chef's Warehouse and US Foods, and we would literally just do tastings in there, and we would just be like, all right, cool. So this is what I'm thinking, guys. What do you think? And they'd be like, yo, this is phenomenal. Don't change a thing. And then like we would be like, oh, maybe like let's add a little more citrus to this or whatever. And we kind of just like all right, cool. Like, but for the most part, it was just like they were like, yo, just do you, Sterling. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And it was really fun to be part of a project like that, where, like I said, usually working for celebrity chefs, it's kind of like you have to find yourself, but in their style. And so like this was literally like, oh yeah, Sterling could just go ahead and be Sterling now. It's like I don't have to be Gordon Ramsay or Kim Cantinwalla or David Chang or Michael Mina. I didn't have to be any of them. I didn't have to try to mimic some of their stuff that make it their brand. I was able to be my own brand. And so awesome. It's really a beautiful thing at Palate, and it's really fun. Like I just came back from an event at Chef's Warehouse 2 days ago, and it was really cool to hear like all my chef peers talk about like, hey brother, I'm hearing you all over the place and seeing you on Instagram and seeing this and seeing that. Like, man, I got to come down and see you. And like some of these guys that I looked up to, or I know that are like really popular chefs locally, to know that they're hearing about what I'm doing and that it's making a change. That's really cool.
That's really good. I don't know if you saw. So I'm in the restaurant. I'm looking back. I'm like, who made this food? Like, what type of part? Who made the food? And I couldn't figure it out. And I told you then, I was like, you were ethnically ambiguous by look to me. And I was like, where does he get his influence? And so it was good to be able to talk to you and kind of figure out like the background and the origin. Now anyone can make any type of, you can make, and you don't have to be Persian, but you can make some amazing Persian, dish. So it's not about culture, but it's, getting that taste, getting the palate for it, and knowing, what's authentic. And I think you hit that, like those greens, I was like, oh man. These greens now. And everything we tasted, that mac and cheese, like wherever you got that from, you don't have to be the kimchi mac and cheese now.
Yeah.
Now, the person taking my order, she was like, we have a mac and cheese, it's kimchi. I was like, oh, I'm not a kimchi fan. She's like, I wasn't either until. And I was like, oh. When I ate it, she's like, how does that taste? She's like, I told you. So whatever you did, you put love into it, because I'm not a kimchi fan. But that mac and cheese,
thank you.
You did it.
And that's literally, I call that making you a believer. Because like at the end of the day, you wouldn't know. I always tell people like the reason why you probably don't like something is because you haven't had it made right. A lot of times people say, I don't like that. I don't like this. Or I don't like broccoli. I don't like this. And it's usually because people haven't had it cooked properly, cooked right. So I always try things twice. I always give everything a shot twice, because you never know, right? You never know like if it just wasn't cooked right the first time, or like whatever, somebody just really didn't know what they were doing. So I love the fact that like people can come into the palate and I kind of make them believer, because a lot of times like you look at stuff on my menu, there's a lot of like old school French terms like torchon or grabiche and stuff like that, and people are like, oh, I'm not familiar with that term, but then they try it and they're like, oh wow, that's crazy. And then they start asking, so what is that? And I start explaining to them the background of where it comes from and everything. And that's like what I love about my style as a chef, is that you're not gonna see any of this anywhere else. You're not gonna really like, it's crazy. It's like, it's exactly me on a plate. And that's like, it's just crazy. It's just like you said, I'm ethnically ambiguous. Yeah. That's my food. It's ambiguous.
It's ambiguous.
You never know.
I went down there, so I was like, you know, I want some grits. The reason why I came, because the word grits came up. It came up and said that you had grits, and I got the grits, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is different. This is different. So the grits and the squid ink, I don't know if you want to share. So the grits were black. And I'm like, I've never had black grits. But I was like, let me try it. So that's a big thing that what I'm trying to do is just try things. Don't say no. Just try things. Go for it and try it. And I was like, yes, those grits. Yeah. Who knew? Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew? You were in the kitchen and figured it out, but it worked. And my mother's from Louisiana. I'm not from Louisiana. My mother's from Louisiana. So when I go back, between home and then when I go back to Louisiana, the grits are made so differently here in California or in the West Coast versus over there in the South. But those that was in between. That was like, okay.
And that's why I always tell people is like, oh, people like, you know, you get a lot of people that want like their classic soul food. And I tell people like, look, this is the wrong place. It's not your mama's soul food. Don't like, first of all, if I know your mama's recipes, you might want to ask some questions. You're like, yo, how you make this the same way my mama do? You're like, oh, that's a problem, right? You want to know that. But like, I don't cook your mother's soul food. I don't cook your grandmother's soul food. I cook soul food my way, because guess what? Like, I gotta be unique. Like, and that's who I am. And so like, I get a lot of people that are like, well, I want like just plain grits. Like, I don't do plain grits. I'm sorry. No. You gotta either like, you know, we'll change them throughout. Like before the black garlic grits, it was we did lemongrass grits. I've even done in the past. I've done saffron grits. I just do it my way, and that's like kind of like what makes me the chef I am. It's like I like to do this funky stuff, and so like I always tell people, it's like, yo, look, it's not your mama's soul food. It's like I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend, but like come here with an open mind and open palate and understanding that it's not gonna taste like the soul food you're used to. Yeah. Like even my fried chicken is different.
It is, but it's so good.
Thank you.
So
it is like but like I try to like be different, because like if I just made regular fried chicken, you could get regular fried chicken anywhere.
But I think that's the beauty. I mean, here in Las Vegas, there are so many restaurants. It's saturated with restaurants. When I first moved out here, I was like, I can live out here for like 20 years and never hit every restaurant. That and the revolving changes that happen with restaurants. But that was the beauty of being here. I want to go and have a different feel and a different experience every time. Even your aesthetic in the restaurant, for the restaurant, is a different feel. It gives me something that, so I don't know what to expect. The fact that you have the open space to view what you're doing, the chef, you are right there in clear view, is a really great feature. So I paid attention to all the features, and that's what I do when I go into places. I want an experience. To say that clearly, T. Smith experience. I want to experience each and every time I go somewhere or do something, whether it's something to go get something to food or to go be entertained, really visual entertainment, and that all that's there from the front desk. The host is in the front desk, and she's like, come back next week. It's going to be a whole new outfit. I was like, I got you. I'm going to come back and see what you're wearing next week. Right. Because, the holidays, she's dressed up for the holidays and things, despite whenever this is going to air, but she's dressed up for the holidays. Your entire restaurant is done. What's the restaurant going to be evolving into? Because it is a new restaurant. So what are you guys looking to do? Because you guys have a lot of different things going on in the restaurant to bring attention to the restaurant.
I definitely feel like as we grow and as we change, we're all very holiday people. So after the holidays, the restaurant will take all the Christmas stuff out. But doing more private events. We're actually trying to also do more unique experiences. Me and managing partner Rudy Aguas, he's also our mixologist. We're trying to do a lot more of like unique experiences like chef tastings. So me and Rudy are trying to work on a special tasting to where he does, it's literally just our bar, which is 10 people, and it'll just be a unique experience on like a Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday. You come in and you pay a certain amount of money, and what it is we do like almost like a cocktail style omakase. So you would come in and we would do 4 to 5 courses of unique cocktails, and then I do like a little garnish to go with his cocktail. And it's kind of like this cocktail / food pairing that is going to be super unique with molecular gastronomy and all sorts of crazy presentations to it. But it's literally just me and Rudy preparing this for you. So it's coming from us to you. And you get to talk to us. It's very intimate. It's very like, it's very like, oh, so what did you put in this? What did you do? And all the questions can be asked. And so it's a very unique experience. We're also looking at doing a special event where we do once a month. We want to get chefs from around Las Vegas. It'll be kind of like, like that album Ray Charles did, A Genius Loves Company. Yes. So it'll be kind of like me doing duets with other chefs. So like literally we'll do a tasting menu. We'll probably pick like some sort of funky topic. And I'll get my chef friends to come with me, and we'll do a unique dinner, sold out event, and we'll just, it'll literally just be a tasting, whether it's 7 to 8 courses of just us cooking unique ingredients that aren't on the menu, and just having like a lot of fun doing it, having people come out and just enjoying like really real creativity.
I love that. You were in the arts district. The restaurant is in the arts district, which is just, to me, a phenomenal place to have something called Palate, where you have this mix of people. I mean, I would say in all, Vegas is very transient. The people and people are coming from everywhere. But in the arts district, I feel like that vibe that you have down there just is perfect for the location, and everything is perfect for what you're doing. What are you looking to do? I mean, there's First Fridays. There's a lot of stuff coming around. I'm always thinking about marketing ideas and things like that. And this is just one of those, this channel session. Like, what are you guys looking to do to kind of bring the arts and things inside of there?
So Palette is actually what drew me in with the concept is that Palette is actually built to look like an art studio. So all of our art is for sale. And so like what we want to try to do is get more of those like people that are just kind of like the arts district like funky people, right? To see that like, hey, like we literally are embodying what arts district means. So having the local artists also sing, and we do live entertainment Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and having that be a thing. So it's literally like we're just trying to be like, hey, look, there's no restaurant that actually fully embodies what the art district is, and that's what we are. So getting people to come and see that like it's an art studio, and you can come and see the art that local artists here in Vegas are doing right in our restaurant, and you can purchase it and take it home if you want to. And so like that's what we're really doing to try to grab the people of the arts district, and not just arts district but all around Las Vegas, is like letting you know that we embody all of what is art, from food to music to paintings to everything. It's all there in our restaurant. We also are the first cookbook lending library in the world. I know you saw like the kind of room to the side over there, and it's like a little library with all the books in there. You can actually come in and borrow those books, and all the proceeds and everything goes to charity. And they're all from chefs around the world. They're all donated from chefs around the world, from Nobu Methusia to David Burke to like all these major celebrity chefs. I mean, it's a pretty awesome thing. I even saw a Thomas Keller book up there, and it was like the first book to go. It's awesome. Like crazy. Awesome. Everybody loves Thomas Keller, but like it's bananas. It's like, so we're doing things that nobody else is doing, and we really are trying to show people that we're also part of the community. And the whole point of having the cookbook lending library is to make sure that people who can't really afford books, they can have these books to cook, and they can learn how to cook, and they can come to our restaurant and see like, hey, this is a cool place to be. They can sit down and read their books with us and have a cocktail, whatever.
When's your book come out?
When does my book come out?
When does that come out?
I'll be honest, it's actually in the works. I'm working on something, I'm working on a couple different projects, also selling my sauces, and so I'm going to try to do like the whole products, selling products and stuff. And I actually have like I'm working on chef clothing as well. It's something that I've had in my back pocket for years that I'm trying to work on. And so like we're working on the brand, the Chef Mamba brand, I guess you could say, for my clothing. I've got a couple things in the works. The book is definitely one of them. And so like, it's getting there and doing all these little side projects and stuff to help boost Palate and help boost my career and everything.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got an opportunity to be able to be head chef in a restaurant where you can do everything yourself, and now being able to take your recipes and put them inside of the book. What type of recipes are we thinking for this, the first one out of many?
To be honest, I've thought about this concept, and it goes back to where like the origin of my cooking came from. And it's like, well, I guess one of the origins, but it's like a book for men. It's a book for men to impress their girls. And so it's like cooking for the ladies is what I want to call the book. And so like literally like making recipes that are like sexy, learning how to like plate properly and and everything and put sexy food to impress your significant other or whatever the lady you're trying to impress, trying to get her to date you, or whatever the case is. I don't know what you're doing.
Is that how you got your wife? You cooked for her?
Okay, so low key, so me and my wife have actually known each other since, I've known her since she was in middle school. And we linked back up as adults. And she was living in Pasadena. I'm sorry. Anyway, she was staying in California at the time. And I went to go see her, and like I wasn't really like, we were friends, right? Yeah. We've always been friends, and like it wasn't really supposed to get like this. It wasn't supposed to get serious. And I was just like, yo, let me just cook for you. Like, let me just come over and see you. I was actually gonna go see my brother because my brother was living in San Diego, so I was gonna stop by, say hi to her, and then I was gonna go to San Diego and chill out with my brother. And I cooked for her, and we ended up like I just ended up spending the whole weekend with her instead of going to see my brother. Yeah. And like from there on, like we just fell in love, and we got married and kids and all the whole shebang. And so like, yeah, I guess cooking kind of got her. got her. Like it was like,
there you go.
Got you. I reeled her in with the cooking. So look, like, yeah, it definitely was a beginning. It definitely was a beginning. And like my wife, like it becomes like, now that I work so much, like I try to cook for my kids. I try to cook for my wife at least once a week because it's what I love to do. So why I share it with thousands of other people every day. Why would I not show my kids like
Absolutely.
what I do?
That's what I'm gonna say. And you talked about the timing that you put in earlier. You were talking about when we were talking outside of this, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. sometimes, right? Yeah. So this is like we're cutting into that right now. You thinking about food right now?
Yeah,
but
100%.
right. I know it doesn't stop.
My phone is blowing up right now. Actually, I already know it's somebody at the restaurant.
And we'll get you back to it because I definitely want to talk about that, like the grind that you have to put in, the hours and the time that you put in. It might feel like nothing to you because you love it, but let's talk about that when it comes to like food and family. How do you make sure to keep family going when you have to do so much of food? It's
a crazy balance, and I'll be very straightforward and honest about it. It was a struggle first, like not being able to like fully have. Sometimes there would be days, there would be weeks where I have to work 7 days. There'd be times where I have to go even more hours. Like I once worked a 23-hour shift and had to come back to the restaurant next day. And so like it was a struggle at first, but as I've gotten a little older, I've had to learn how to set up my life and set up my days to where like, all right, like I need my days off. Like, look, I understand that there's times where I have to be here, but there's times where I don't have to be here. And now I'm not going to be here. Like I have a sous chef for a reason. You help me, you take care of this for me, and I'll do this because I do need that work-life balance. And especially as I'm getting closer to 40, it's like I'm realizing like I've watched a lot of life pass by, and I've missed out a lot of events. I've missed out a lot of birthdays. I missed out on this and that and this. And it's time for me. It's like I gotta get better at transition into something better. So the grind of being a chef is rough, and understanding that like it was a means to an end, right? I did a lot in the beginning of my career, a lot of grinding and working the long hour shifts, and now like I'm getting closer to this part of my career, or I'm transitioning to a different role. It's like now like, all right, well, now I need to make more time.
It's paying off right now.
It's paying off. It's definitely paying off.
With dividends, and that's what we needed. We got to put in the work each and every time. I feel like there was a point in my life where I felt like I was grinding, working really hard, but I was like, am I working hard enough? Am I working smart enough? Right? And
100%. I
was doing that because I was working in school, had the kids at the house, and then eventually, in the back of my mind, I was always thinking about starting my own business and what that would look like. And so I started my own business, and I got to a point where I was grinding, head down. Like I was literally working, from sun up to sundown. It'd be 11 p.m. for me. I get up early in the morning because I had clients that I was taking on that were in different countries. And I'm like, I don't care. It's okay. That's okay. I'll get on a meeting at 8 p.m. No problem. That's nothing. That's their morning and this is my night. That's okay. And then you still keep on going. Then I said, wait, hold on. I need to work smarter about this because right now I'm not actually able to enjoy like the fruits of labor every day. 100%. Right? And my bank account was looking nice, but I needed to also just take some time.
Right, but your mind is like
it was nothing. It was gone. I was messing up. Let me tell you, that came into messing. Like when I spelled my name wrong at the end of an email and sent it off and looked at it later on and from the reply and was like, now I'm spelling my name wrong. I need to stop. I need to slow down because I'm trying to get all this stuff out and trying to do stuff. So I had to actually, this was during COVID, I had to back myself out of a lot of stuff that I had signed up for. And once COVID was, we were coming out of COVID, I ended up finding my first consultant to help me out. So that was the first part to working smarter, is finding some help. Well, I think the first part was acknowledging that I needed the help.
100%, right?
Because someone helping me with my business means I'm putting them in the forefront and putting myself backwards a little bit. And that was kind of hard. Like, you know, it was like, am I that good? Like, I'm gonna put someone else and they might shine or they might not do a great job. And so it was so weird during that time. But let me tell you,
that's always the hardest thing when you're like obsessed with success and obsessed with being great at something, is learning to be able to let somebody kind of help you and like kind of like take some stuff off of your plate. Because sometimes, and I've had this problem a lot, is like sometimes you're like, you're not gonna do it the same way. Like, what are you doing? Like, whatever. Like,
you can't beat me.
You can't beat me, right? And that's like the thing is like, but it's also, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because it's like, that's what it takes to be great. And it's like what it takes to be really good at something is like to know that like, I want to be perfect every time. I want to be a perfectionist about this. I want this to go right. I don't want you to screw this up because it makes me look bad. It's taking my boy Jeff, shout out to Jeff Snell, always tells me, he says, yo, I put my flag on this. This is my flag on here. This is a representation of Jeff Snell. Or he'll say like, for me, it's the same thing. It's like representation of Sterling Buckley. This is my flag on this. And so it's like, that's the mentality of somebody that wants to be great, is knowing that I'm turning in this work. This is work that's out there. And I don't want people to turn and look at this and be like, what the hell is this?
Absolutely. You're birthing a business, and and it's a little bit different than birthing a child. You know, it's a child. You raise them to a certain point and you would like for them to do them. But in this case, we birthed the business and we want to continue to be a part of that, like throughout the process. We want to be able to coach it. And so we got to let them go, just like our children. We got to let them go and spread their wings a little. Maybe someone put a different twist on it. That's the hard part, though.
It's so hard.
Let me tell you, if I associate my business and how I have to let my kids go and let them have their own opinions, I'm like, Lord Jesus, please. So just hold on, give me a little bit more time with them. I need a little bit more time. I'm not ready.
So hard to let it go. It's so hard to let go of those situations. And like I said, I've been trying to get better at it, because I know like eventually, like if I have to, for me to be able to move on and grow and do and make Palate successful and make and have the things that I want to do, I gotta have people that are taking care of things. I can't be everywhere at the same time. And that's like, but that's like I said, that goes back to what we're saying, is like, that's what it takes to be great. Yeah. Like you got to know that's like it's that I want everything to be perfect no matter where it is, where I am.
Your business, your vision has to be able self-sustainable without you. Other than that, I mean, I just watched the Martha Stewart documentary. Other than that, the brand, who is it disassociates you so much, to a point with the business, so the business can keep going. And I realized that with my business, it took me some time I'm the HR consultant. I'm the main HR person. People sign up because they get me as their consultant. And it was hard for me to say, well, I feel like I was duking they've been duped. Is that the word? Because now I sign them up because they get to know me and they say, oh yeah, she sounds great. I think this is gonna be a great fit. And then I slide another consultant in there on you. And then I felt like, oh, that's wrong. That's probably wrong. You signed up for me. So now my consultant, the pressure's on my consultant to live up to what people bought into. Right. And so that's been a struggle or whatever, but I'm definitely trying to make sure the business can run. And this is why I put the process and procedures and all those things in place. This is how it should look. I give you the canvas, right? Not a blank canvas. I give you I tell you, this is it. And I'm, being a chef, the same thing. To be able to get a sous chef, you have to put down, here are the instructions. Here's how it's supposed to be. Here's the palette, here's, if someone complains about this is what we're going to do. And how do we fix this? And I mean,
and then it becomes like, now your role becomes like, it becomes different, right? You become a teacher now. And that's like, sometimes it becomes hard because there's intangibles that people have to be great. And sometimes you gotta, when you're teaching somebody to kind of follow your footsteps, they have to have those intangibles. And like, sometimes it's hard you have to kind of trust that person will be you when you're not around. And so it becomes a different role, right? Like I said, it becomes like more of like a teacher role. Now you gotta go back and you gotta teach and you gotta okay, well now, like, if this doesn't happen, you gotta do this. And like for cooking, it's like I teach my sous chef like how to look for certain things and like, like the techniques that I've picked up up throughout the years and like, okay, hey, well, you know, to make sure that the sauce is well reduced, look at the size of the bubbles. When they start to bubble, when the bubbles start to get bigger, that's how I know that it's perfectly reduced. Shut it off and let it sit for a minute. It's like the little tips and tricks that I've learned, the tricks of the trade and stuff that I've learned as a chef, and like little crazy thing like techniques and showing how to do proper plating techniques and everything. It just becomes like, now I'm just teaching. I'm teaching. And luckily teaching is fun for me, but I also don't have a lot of patience when people just like don't grasp it after the 10th time. You know, so for me it's like, oh God, but it's part of it. It's part of the learning procedure and part of the growing procedure and transferring into a different role.
Yeah. Who's the most, I guess, renowned person that you've cooked for that you've been like, oh my gosh, they're eating my food?
Oh, cook for who sat down and ate? For a lot of them. I mean, geez, that's a big question. Because I've cooked for so many people. I mean, I would say I would have to get a little chef geeky here.
Do it.
Because it's more like, you know, like for me, like famous people are cool, right? But like for me, it's like when like a celebrity chef steps into your restaurant, you're like, yo, you came to my spot. Jonathan Waxman one time came up to me. He's like a California chef. He kind of bounced between California and New York, but he's like an OG chef. And I remember I was the executive chef at La Cave, and he walked up to my kitchen, and he was like, "Chef, I just want to tell you everything was great." And I looked at it, I was like, "Oh shit, this is Jonathan Waxman." And I was like, "Yo, chef, thank you." And I was like, that means a lot coming from this dude. Like, he's a restaurant legend. Like, he might not be known like Gordon Ramsay, but like when you're like you're a restaurant dude, like he's like one of those guys. So he's definitely one of them. I mean, Gordon Ramsay, like absolutely Gordon Ramsay. Like that was working for Gordon Ramsay was definitely one of the biggest highlights of my career. That was awesome. Julian Serrano, another celebrity chef. He just closed his Michelin star restaurant in the Bellagio, but I got to cook for him multiple times, and he always enjoyed everything. I loved cooking for Julian. We would develop a relationship, and he's awesome. Love Julian Serrano. Nice. So like that, like it gets, for me, that's where I geek out at. It's like cooking for like celebrity chefs, because I know like they're really judging your food. And so like those are the guys that really kind of blew me away. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this is phenomenal. Like this is great. Like, yo, these people are enjoying my food. Aaron Sanchez is another one that I got to cook for him, and he loved everything. Yeah.
I never understood the food critics, how food critics go into restaurants and things like that. Like, that's a real thing. I only see it on TV.
Oh, you about me have me go on a rant. Here we go.
That's a real thing. So I'd love to just hear about it.
I'm saying it. I think food critics, I'm saying this, and I hope it catches on. I think food critics need to go through some sort of course or training to be able to be a food critic. I do not think that it's fair that people who are not trained to cook food or know anything about food can tell me that my food sucks. That is not fair. I worked my ass off as a chef to get to where I am. And somebody can walk. I've had a person walk into my restaurant and make a complaint about my tasting menu, and I was like, well, that's how it's supposed to taste. And they're like, well, I don't like that. I was like, well, you don't know food. Who are you to tell me, a trained chef, that my food sucks and you don't know what I'm doing or the process of what I do or what's in it or what the technique is behind it or where it even comes from? Who are you to do that? Like,
to me, it's to each their own, though. Our palates mature differently, so I don't know what it is about it. I was like, maybe they're like sommeliers, sommeliers, how do you say it? Sommeliers. I am no perfectionist in this, but I didn't know, do they have to go through something to be like the taste, the palate, and the textures and things like that? To each their own, though. If you're like me and I'm going over and I'm just going to a barbecue spot where I'm going to be, or a barbecue cook-off, and a challenge there, I'm going to taste the barbecue sauce in whatever palate I'm like, oh, I like that because I like sweet. And someone else might be like, no, I like smoky. I don't like the sweet one. It's too sweet. Or I don't like smoky, right? I'm not a charbroiled person. So I would definitely be like, no, that's not me. And so therefore I'm going to give you, bad marks because I don't know if that's how it is, but that's what I would do because my palate says, no, I don't like charbroiled.
So that's great that you brought up barbecue, because barbecue is actually one of the most difficult foods to cook. Barbecue is a technique. Like, it is literally one of the deepest techniques of food there is, because you're taking large pieces of meat and fire, right? You have to control the temperature of fire to get a piece of meat perfectly cooked on the inside, where it's fall in your mouth tender, and it's like it's not burnt on the outside, right? It's one of the utmost deepest techniques. But the key word is technique. There is a set of rules to get to that that tenderness, to get to that perfect thing. And when people judge barbecue, because everybody knows there's barbecue competitions, right? There's a list of rules that you have to follow that they're looking for when you're doing barbecue competitions. So that means that there's techniques, there's laws, there are rules, there are things that they're looking for. A food critic, random food critics can come in and just be like, well, I don't like that. But you don't know the rules behind it. You don't know the rules. You don't know the game plan behind this. You don't know what you have to do. You don't know that this has to be like this or this has to be like that. You're just saying this because you just don't like it or you like it or whatever. So, like I said, it's perfect that you brought up barbecue, because barbecue critics know that, oh yes, your brisket is supposed to be done like this. The inside temperature is supposed to be whatever degrees. They know that. There is a science to it. And what I'm trying to say is, food critics out there that really they don't know really much about food, but they get to like judge chefs, like people that like have worked their whole career and their whole lives to make good food. And it's kind of like, oh, you get to just say shit. You just get to say shit.
You came in and did your job. You said something of whether you liked it. I think that's definitely hard. There's always what do they say? Everyone's a critic.
Yeah.
But not everyone is a food critic. Not everyone, right? Everyone's a critic at something, and so you got to have those critics. But again, it's one of those things to me. If you have a critic, this is me, and gosh, I always have to revert back to training and HR and all those things. But if I have something, I just did a training and I got some feedback from the first session where I was doing two different sessions within 2 different months. I got some feedback. I got some critique that I had to work on. Now you have an opportunity now for the next session to get it right. You don't have that in food, right?
No,
you don't have that. Or, like I have to get to know, if I was able to get to know my audience, if you knew this food critic coming in and you knew this person was like more on the savory side or more, something like that, you'd gear your things to that because that's their personal palate, I would imagine.
Well, I mean, I guess, yes, in a sense, right? Like everybody's palate is different, but it really I'm gonna keep going back to this. Yeah. It really goes back to the fact, like, if I absolutely serve bad food, it's bad food. And please, rail me for it. But if I know, like, I'm sending out a perfect product and, like, somebody comes and says something about it and they're like, oh, well, I really didn't care for the fact that you put soy sauce in this, or, like, I didn't care for the fact that you did this. And you're like, what? Who are you to say that? And, like, who are you to say that? Did it taste good? Well, yeah, but, like, I prefer not soy sauce. That's not the point. You're not coming here to say that. Right. You're coming here to see what makes my restaurant different, what makes my food great, what makes me different from everybody else. So like I said, if it's bad, absolutely say it's terrible. But if my flavors are unique, they're on point, everything's great, and you taste it and you love it, what's your gripe? Like, what's your problem? Like, if my textures are off, my technique is right. And it can even go like what you said with HR, right? Because HR, I feel like there's so much structure in what you have to do as HR that it's like if somebody really critiqued you on something, right? I don't know like what exactly they critiqued you on, but like there's a set of rules that you kind of have to follow for HR, right?
There was a direction I was given, so it was a whole big thing behind that one. There was a whole direction I was giving, and then I was like, oh, okay, you wanted to go in a different direction? Okay, thanks. You tell me in the middle of break.
Well, literally, you hit it again. Yay. Like, it's like you have to know what you're talking about to know that this is what's happening in the first place.
Absolutely,
and so that's like, you got to know the background to understand like what's going on. So it's like, it's a whole thing. And so like, food is one of those unique things where like you get people that can literally become famous food critics and just like not know anything about what they're talking about. And that's like, and it's like, it's very unique. But
we're gonna push past those.
I told you I was gonna go.
I love that. We'll push past those people, not past what you said, because that's important. We'll push past those people, and that's what we have to do. We have to push forward, and that's really what we're going to go down to. I always want someone to. We're going to wrap it up, but I want you to kind of express your too skilled to fail is what I have. That's our statement. That's our tagline mainly. And you remember this T. Smith experience, but too skilled to fail. I always want people to give me their take on what they feel they are, how they are too skilled to fail.
Wow. I think that, it's the fact that I refuse to fail. I think that's what makes me too skilled to fail. I have all the techniques and everything. When it comes to a chef, I absolutely have the deep passion for food, and not just the passion for food. I have the ability to cook good food. And so for me, what makes me too skilled to fail is that I'm never going to fail because I refuse to fail. And my skills will never let me fail. In my mind, I'm so crazy that I'll never let myself fail. And so it's the fear of failing that really gets behind me and pushes me me forward. And knowing that like I am a unique chef, and what I have to offer to the world is a unique product, as well as my personality, my love for people, my love for food, my love for the ambiance as a restaurant. From like I always tell people, I love a restaurant from the front door to the back door. Yeah. Like I love everything in between. I love all of it. And so it's the fact that I look at the restaurant as a whole and the whole experience, and that's what's not going to let me fail, is that I love food, I love restaurants, I love people, I love the whole experience, and that I refuse to fail.
That's awesome. Look at ding, 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 ding. I guess I love that. So let everybody know where they can find you, just to make sure we have that, and everyone can look at go down to the restaurant, but let them know about the restaurant, but let them know where they can personally find you too if you'd like them to.
Absolutely. 1301 South Main Street, Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Arts District. That's where you can find Palate, Palate. My name is Sterling Buckley. Please come down and see me. I'm there all the time. I love to talk to you. And we're right on the corner of Colorado and Maine, catty corner from 1228. We do modern American cuisine with the cultural influences, and I promise you will be surprised and you will be totally in love with everything we do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And that's it. That's where we wrapping that up.
Yo,
Get back to the restaurant.
Love it, yo. I do not know who is blowing.